All right, guys, welcome back to the weekly recap episode. This week we're going over episodes 27 and 28. We're completely caught up with our chapter 1 of our campaign. Um, I had you guys muted, but it doesn't matter because I was talking. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks.
Don't worry, guys. They didn't say anything. Also, you guys will notice that Jacob is AFK. He has some family stuff going on tonight. It's not a too big of a deal. We will have his questions probably answered either later, or we can talk about it as a group if there's anything we can talk about as a group. So, jumping into this, yeah, we're completely caught up. Episode 29 is the episode we just did this week, and episode 30 is coming up this next week on Sunday, and we'll do both of those next week, and then we'll just be doing one episodes up until the end of chapter 1, which should not be too much longer. We keep saying like within a month, but I think we're actually within a month now. So it's whenever Jacob wants to kind of create the final ending of chapter 1, or whenever we decide as characters to do the final fight that he wants us to do. All right, so episodes 27 and 28. So jumping off last week, we had Brady on last week, Zach, right? I'm just gonna say yes. We had him on as Zygon.
At Brady.
All right, so last week we came off of Tabitha. Had been a traitor. She completely went against our group and sold us out to class members. Ran off. And we were all stuck in this giant mansion where I had a talk with the Baylor. And the Baylor told me about the truth about how Tabitha was completely betraying us, and that he actually was trying to help us. So I jumped out the window, turned into an eagle, and started flying after her. The rest of the group started a teleportation that Anzu had. And yeah, that's where we pick up in 27. 27, I'm following Tabitha down towards the guild hall, but we open up on the rest of the group in a fight with class members who are starting to enter the house, the building that they're in, which is Mathis's mansion. And yeah, so it starts off, Anzu has already started the teleportation. It's going to take a couple turns, and from there we have like a fight going on. Everyone's able to kind of make their way into the portal throughout the time in that, and then I think how many did you guys kill? Do you remember, Abby?
He kept like jumping the numbers around, but it was like I want to say like 10 to maybe like 12.
I was gonna say they were surrounded in a small room with a window on the one side and the door on the other. There were about 10 class members that had made their way in, but they were never able to make it into the teleportation circle with them, which I think Anzu can even control. I'm not completely sure on that spell. But they make their way through. Then we cut over to what was happening with my character at the same time. I followed Tabitha, and I started a fight with her and 6 class members. At the time, or I mean, just overall, not a great idea to go in a 1-on-7 when you know game wise, and also because Jacob told me that their levels were all equal or almost equal to mine. So we were across from the Slayer's Take also, so I knocked on the Slayer's Take door as soon as I had like landed and got their attention. Slayer's Take never came, just want to point that out, but it's cool. Yeah, so I started a fight with them. I turned immediately into a Earth Elemental because they have really high HP and I was able to tank it. But then they just kind of broke down the wall of fire I created and got into the guild hall. So I took an L, completely dropped all my defenses and ran inside. Luckily we had 2 of our new guild members, Garnash and Sophocles, I think was the one that was in there at the time. And so it was kind of a 3 versus 7, and I almost died multiple times before the rest of the Flagon Slayers had teleported, but they teleported in on the top floor, so it took them a turn to get from the top floor down the stairs and then down our pole that was put in by, as of Brady's request. So thank God that pole was there, because if that wasn't there, you guys wouldn't have been able to get down there as quick.
I mean, I dimension doored, so
yeah, that's true.
Like,
2 of you guys.
No time. I took Braun with me.
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm not wasting any time.
So yeah, Abby was able to Dimension Door. Forgot about that. And I think both Anzu and Zygon Misty stepped. And then
Anzu definitely did.
Yeah. So you guys were all in there pretty quick, which was really helpful.
Yeah.
So a little bit of something from last week also that I think we kind of talked about. Zygon was not supposed to let me kill Tabitha for whatever reason. Fraz, his demon, had told him, hey, you cannot let Animus take the soul of Tabitha. So we're in this fight. I told everyone they need to get rid of these class members so I can focus on a spell that I was given by the Baylor. And the spell, I started casting it. It's called Mist of the Screeching Soul. Sorry, Mist of the Screeching Soul. It is a spell that takes 3 turns to pretty much do some magic shit and take the soul of the person. There's a couple other things that are a little bit secretive about it. For the most part about it, though, it's just like a mist that surrounds the person and then takes their soul over time without them being able to do anything about it.
Interesting. Is that a homebrew spell that
Jacob
made up? Or, okay.
Me and Jacob worked.
Screeching soul.
Yeah, me and Jacob worked on it, and that's why I worked on it a couple times. I told him in game that I wanted to use it and everything, so we ended up using that. He made one change in game. Once I finally used it, and he was like, people should be allowed to talk while they're in this, and it was kind of like a spell that slowly puts you to sleep throughout 3 turns. So everyone else kind of fought off the other class members. Luckily I didn't get hit through that, didn't have to make concentration. Zygon tried on the last attempt the last turn to Dimension Door Tabitha out of there, and Anzu counterspelled it, which was amazing. And so Tabitha did in fact fall asleep, and then I absorbed her soul into a crystal, and the crystal disappeared because the Baylor now has her soul. So going into and that is actually where we started episode 28. So episode 28 was just the end of that fight, and then we all kind of chilled around. We got rid of the bodies. We needed to figure out what we were going to do next, because we were already being presumed as the killers of Grinsbale. So,
well, before that, I do want to mention Jacob singing.
Oh, Jacob did sing. Yes. So we were cleaning up the tavern of the bodies, and we got someone was able to get him to sing in chat. So he does have a little song in there. It's I think it's a sailor's song. So awesome to hear Jacob do that, because it adds a lot of flavor if he is comfortable enough to do that in a normal situation without people asking. But yeah, so we clean up the tavern. I actually keep Tabitha's body because there's something about the spell that actually keeps her body alive without rotting or decaying. So we keep it upstairs in the room. Some eyeballs started popping up throughout the episode where they were these eyeballs were watching us, and we still don't fully know what it is. It could be a number of things. So we just kind of that was something we were aware of. Me and Zygon moved the body upstairs with a dimension door. Me and him had a talk about hey, I understood why he tried the dimension door, and I wasn't mad about it, and the rest of the group also understood. We all knew what was going on. Well, I mean, for the most part, we all know that the 2 demons that both of us are under are not big fans of each other and trying to overpower one another. So
yeah, I have my beef. It's fine.
Yeah, you got this other stuff. I personally understood why he did it, and we had a talk about how the demons that are controlling us right now are they're powerful, and they're not something that we're able to really defy. So we all kind of take a long rest. Wake up the next morning, and we get a knock at the door. It's one of the government officials. Forget his name.
The Master of Law.
Yeah, I forget his name, though.
Couldn't tell you who.
It was not on there. Okay, I'll look at it later. But yeah, so he comes to the door with a couple members of the guard, And he's like, hey, we're looking for Zygon. And we're like, oh, okay, we'll tell you when he comes back later. Obviously, Zygon being down there with us. No, but they didn't see him. A couple minutes later, they charged through the door with about 30 members of the town guard. And they're like, okay, we're going to start questioning you guys. So that's what happened. We went through a big section of questioning each of the members of the Flagon Slayers on where we were. And it was... Jacob played it really well on trying to get us to turn against each other, even though we're all sitting here watching each other answer the questions. It's it was still kind of hard to follow. Oh my god,
I'm just I don't remember who said what, but I know probably wouldn't do this, so I was just I'm gonna play it real sweet.
I think what would have been really cool is if Jacob had everybody else muted. During
I think that would have really been interesting.
Cool. So we question everyone, or this guy's questioning everyone. The Master of Law, he was friends of Grinsbale, so he's kind of questioning us really hard, and everyone denies it other than me. I had a talk that morning with Zygon about how he needs to get back and talk with his wife and kid because he hadn't seen them in a couple weeks since we started this job. So. After having that conversation in my head, I was like, okay, I'd rather go down for this and they figure out how to get me out of jail instead of Zygon going down for this. And then Zygon can't even get to his wife and child, and we can't figure out other stuff going on. But then Zygon also kind of started talking a little bit. So me and him both ended up getting arrested at the end of the episode. Even with my attempts to say, hey, I was the only one there. But yeah, that is where we ended episode 28. And that is where we are now. So, Zach, do you want to start us off with some questions?
Yeah, I got a question for both of you.
Okay.
So what's your overall thoughts on kind of the whole Tabitha situation kind of after her death? I know it's a very broad question.
Yeah. Honestly, the entire time we've been doing that little story bit, I was just kind of confused. I was I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know who this bitch is. I don't know why we're being chosen for anything. Because I still feel we've kind of made some strides in as a group, but I don't think in the world even I don't know, it just seemed kind of random and weird, and I was I don't know that we have this much impact yet, but maybe we do. And I don't know, also just kind of hated her. She was frustrating because I felt Jacob just made a character who was a little bit better at doing shit that I want to be able to do than me. So I was just she was so Thea was constantly just God damn it, I hate this bitch, because everyone else was just oh, she's so cool at first, and I was just well, this is all the stuff I try to do constantly and can't ever do. She can go and turn invisible, and I can turn invisible for 6 seconds twice a day, and it's just stupid shit like that. And then so I never fully trusted her, but then
the jealousy.
I just there's a little bit of jealousy, but then at the same time the overart I still just don't really know what happened. I'm just genuinely so confused.
I think so. I think it's more we're less of we're known in the world as much, and more that we're just known by certain people. Vesper, we did a job for Vesper because we were sent up there and everything at the very beginning of our campaign. And then because Vesper knows the Mathis, who's the guy, the Master of Information in Amon, she sent us down there to do that job. And that's kind of how we ended up in all that, because no one else, none of the other government officials really knew us at the time, and the only other people who knew us were the Slayer's Take. So, but yeah, and then the whole Tabitha thing was I just immediately I knew it was not a good situation because I had to kill her right when I saw her. I knew that. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention. So Tabitha's name popped up on my arm. It's a quest. It is a thing I'm doing for the Baylor. A deal I'm doing for the Baylor.
I would consider it a quest.
It's kind of a quest. The second name actually popped up in episode 28. It's Navarne, and he's apparently kind of like Garnash. He's a dimensional bounty hunter kind of guy, very evil person, apparently really powerful. But we'll talk about that later because I haven't seen him yet. But yeah, the whole Tabitha thing was like, I kind of was hoping she'd end up being evil, but it ends up she's not actually as evil as I thought she was, because I thought she would just like be gone after I took her soul, which is what would have happened. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. It's just like it is what it was. I think I'm a little bit with Abby. It's like I think we kind of jumped around a little bit. It was like kind of confusing, but not like anything on Jacob. It was just like us as a group were kind of jumping around. Because we started doing the Tabitha stuff, then we ran out, did that one Olaf mission for like 3 episodes, then came back to Tabitha, and I think that's what we kind of like. We should have stuck with one mission, instead of like cutting it in half. So
but you know, it's just it is what it is.
It sometimes
felt
happens.
Very disjointed a little bit, and like, I mean, like that's kind of how life is. Like you've got all these different things going on, but it just felt like, you know, going like a week between everything, you like forget stuff and you're like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Like, I don't know where we're going with this.
Yeah.
But
well,
ultimately,
like with it
Jacob
being a whole list of names, supposedly, like, I mean, you could not see Navarne for like, I don't know,
A
4 months
while,
or something,
yeah.
you know, have other story going on in between. So I think Jacob will do a good job with it.
Yeah. It's sometimes, and like it's also, I can't imagine how it is writing like a campaign like this completely from scratch with the base of what is the book from Critical Role's first season. But like it's like with that base of the world, he's writing the whole campaign on his own. It's not like he's using a modular book. So and also like writing, like helping on creating backstories with characters, and like just like helping shape what we create as backstories into what the world is now, is like that's a lot for one person to be able to do, and also include each person within like a couple weeks of each other, because you don't want to be sitting there for like a long time without anything happening to your character. So like just adding little bits here and there is something that's hard to probably focus on, but I think Jacob's doing a solid job of it.
For sure. And I mean, like with all of us as players, like I know like we all play very differently, and we all have like different things we want to do, and so like we're constantly just like throwing shit at him, like, what was this? I was like, sounded like a signal anyway. But yeah, like I know like my character has like 100 years of backstory that Jacob has to deal with, and then like Anzu has like 200, and like the other characters aren't as old, but it's just like, I mean, that's a lot to process, and I don't know if my pea brain can handle it. I can barely remember my own sometimes.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So, talking about Thea a little bit, Abby, can you kind of explain a little bit more about her kind of religious background? Because I know she used the divination spell.
Yeah.
Could you kind of go into a little bit of detail about that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's one thing I feel like I wish I got the opportunity to explore a little bit more, just because, like, I feel like Caleb and Brady just keep getting this demon shit thrown at them, and, like, it just confused me, like, a little bit, and this isn't to be, to, like, be like, Jacob isn't doing, like, he's doing a great job, but, like, I just was confused why, like, Thea never got, like, just really anything from, like, her goddess about, like, all this demon shit happening, because, like, that's very much, like, if all this shit's going on, I'm sure there's no reason, like, she wouldn't have at least, like, one thing to say about it, you know, like, so I don't know, it's not something I get to explore too, like, as often as I'd like, I'll be honest, really, like, the Moonweaver is a goddess of trickery, and, like, I want to say, like, it's not, like, you know, like, necessarily, like, pranks and, like, oh, I'm gonna make fun of you and like make you look stupid kind of shit. I mean, it can be that, and I would love to do that a little bit more, but it's more just like staying in the shadows and like she's supposed to be like a goddess of like lovers trysts and shit like that, and just general like I don't know, she's an elven goddess, so like it's a little, she's not really worshipped outside of like elven society, I guess. I'm sure she is a little bit, but I'm sure if we ever like get the chance to like explore like Thea's backstory a little bit, it'll probably come up more, because it came up, you know, like whenever we encountered Thea's little sister and stuff like that. I just think whenever we're in like, not necessarily, it's not human society, but like out just regular society with like all different kinds of people, it's just not, yeah, non-elven, it's just not going to come up as much.
Yeah.
But like I try to get it in there as much as I can. I just like, you know, this is still like the first time I've ever played, so like I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, I'm trying to figure it out. So that's why sometimes I'll just be like, Jacob, what does the moon look like right now? Like just trying for anything, really.
It's definitely one of those things of like balance of like, you don't want to go a long time, like I said earlier, you don't want to go a long time without having something happening to your character that's like kind of keeps your, not like keeps your interest as in like in a bad way, but like keeps your interest as in like, so, and like sometimes like you just have to let certain people's story arcs go on. Like Anzu, he had a huge story arc, and like we had a couple little things going on. You've had a couple small story arcs kind of pop in and out for a little while. And then Zygon's got some stuff going on. Lochner had like a brief one that we just passed. And then I've kind of had a chunk going on right now. So...
And like, I know for like a fact, obviously I am not the star of this. So like, it's not about me. And I don't want to like ever be like, I want people to like have their time to do stuff. I just like... was thinking about it the other day, and I was just like, I feel like the Moonweeper would have had an opinion, just a slight one. She would have at least just been like, hey, something ain't right, maybe you should figure out how you feel about it. And that's kind of more than all I'm saying, you know? Because obviously like just things are not like, things aren't gonna apply to everyone at all times.
No, I
think Jacob's doing a really good job of throwing shit in there for everybody.
So awkward pause.
I was just gonna let it go.
Alright, cool, we're gonna move on. Segues are weird.
Segue.
So at the end of, what was that, episode 28, 29, whatever that second one was, with the interrogation going on,
28,
28, that one, what was going through like the characters' minds during the interrogation?
Truly, I was just like, this is such bullshit. And I'm so like, it felt very like, as much as like Thea doesn't like vibe with Zygon a whole lot, she kind of does a little bit and doesn't want to admit it. And she was just like, there's got to be a way to like get us out of this. And I guess she was just hoping everyone would just be like, wasn't us, and then we could move on. But then like that just did not happen. Did it?
It wasn't going to happen. I knew as soon as we started that Jacob was taking one of us to jail in that episode. I knew that's what was going to happen. So, like, Zygon was 100% going to jail. And so in my thought process, I think my character was, like, just thinking... I mean, my only thought at the time was, oh, shit, like, I want Zygon to be able to talk to his wife again. So, because, like, Animus's whole thing is, like, I'm still in a questionable situation of, like, I don't actually know if my family's alive, and I don't know if I'm actually... My personal quest to take out the Warlock in the Shadowfell, I don't know if that's something that, like, I actually am working towards for any reason at this point. I don't have any confirmation on, like, is he still there? Like, obviously he is, but is he for sure still there trying to take over the material plane and like getting all his power? Like, I haven't seen him for 15 years, but like other people have stuff going on, and I'm watching it in the moment as Animus, and it's kind of reminding him of like, oh, I'm doing my whole reason for being here in the material plane is to get back to the Shadowfell to save my family. So if all these other people are trying to save people who are close to them, I need to help them out so that I can also trust that they'll help me out in the future. So that was kind of my thought process when we did it.
I think I was just like, I'm not confident in my ability to like trick this man into like letting Zygon go. Like, I had a couple of like thoughts of like, I can cast Modify Memory now and maybe he'll just even forget Zygon exists. You know, I mean, it's only like, you can only do like 10 minutes of memory, but it was just like, could do all this shit. But then I was like, if I don't do it just right, like it's gonna backfire big time. And so I was like, I'm just gonna like do my best to stay off this man's radar, and I'm gonna be real sweet about it and be a lady, and then just prison break as Icon or something. Like, that was kind of my idea. I was just like, I don't know. Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. So
that's for me today.
No, yeah, you're good.
Because somebody decided not to come on the stream today, but
Jacob.
Someone decided to have a family.
Jacob. Gosh, Jacob, are you kidding me?
Love you, Jacob.
Well, so yeah, going into next episode, it kind of picks up next week with, and I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen this week, but it'll pick up with us getting questioned again. I think Jacob does end it pretty quickly. We're just kind of trying. I think he wanted us to move into some of the big fights that we're gonna have at the end of this chapter, which we have yet to pick or choose. We kind of discuss it, so you guys will see that in the future. But yeah, coming up to the end of chapter 1, I keep saying it, you know, I keep bringing it up. We're almost there.
Who knows what that means?
It really just means that in the next few episodes, we're going to have a boss battle that ends this chapter, and we're going to have updates on how the layout of our streams are going to go. A little bit more artwork coming in. We have Twitch emotes coming up. Anybody getting out there to support us is always awesome for us. So let your friends know, maybe share it with some other people. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the weekly recap. We will have a full recap of all of chapter 1, which will be a full year's worth of a campaign. So me and Jacob are going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks.
We've officially been playing for a year. It's October. We started last September. That's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. So crazy. So also we have a couple one-shots coming out on YouTube that we did over the summer. I just haven't had time to fully edit those. I was trying to catch up on these episodes. So a couple one-shots coming out on YouTube. If you guys want to go check those out, those are always fun to watch because it's not like you have to catch up with the whole campaign to understand what's going on. We stream on Sundays around 6:15 is our starting time, and we go to about 9:30, so come check us out on that. Also, check out next week's weekly recap, which will be completely caught up, and then hopefully be just one step closer to being at the end of chapter 1 and maybe have some cool fights going on. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you guys next week.